Alright, this is match one of the San Rafael Regional in Northern California, just outside of San Francisco. So my opponent is playing Cerebral Imaging, and click 1, he's going to install Ice over R&D, hedge fund, getting some money, and then click to draw. Immediately going to start trying to take advantage of the Cerebral Imaging ID ability. On my side, I'm playing Noise, and that's me on the right-hand side. Click 1, I'm going to run R&D, and he reses an Eli, which is perfectly fine for me. I'm happy to bounce off that. Really, I'm just trying to get him to spend some money, so to keep his hand size down and really prevent the combo aspect of that from going off as much as possible. He mills a card, I get some credits for Imp, and there's a wide open HQ that I take advantage of there with Dirty Laundry along with Imp. So if I get anything that's worth trashing, I'm going to do it, but in this case it's just a reclamation order. So it doesn't really give me any information, but not worth trashing at this point in the game anyway. And I gain my money from Dirty Laundry. So overall, pretty worthwhile there. You know, free access, free money, can't complain there. And these little fire tokens for me are my click trackers, in case anyone watching isn't sure. And usually with Cerebral Imaging, okay, so he's going to play a hedge fund right off the bat. You see a lot of players just gaining credits, drawing, and trying to combo out. So yeah, and here's a big part of the strategy is just playing Jackson and drawing up, and really trying to take advantage of that hand size. But he did leave HQ open for me, which probably was a mistake with that Imp, regardless of what he has in his hand. And yeah, I'm immediately going to start to take advantage here, but we can't really see what else he has, but that Biotic is gonna get trashed instantly. That's a prime target for Imp, and I'm more than happy to trash a Biotic every time I see one. It's a really strong card that isn't otherwise trashed, and especially for this combo deck where having that card in his hand is just a slot out of 10 right now, so it's not a detriment to keep it in hand like some other factions, like it could be in some other factions. So click 1, he's going to install over HQ, denying me that free access, which is definitely a good play. And oh, I did score that mandatory upgrades. I don't think I mentioned that, but click 2 and 3 he drew up. So that mandatory upgrades gives me some information. Now I know he's probably running Mushin Notion, and then first thing I do is run HQ and find that Hive, which is a great piece of ice, but it kind of signals more to me about what his deck is trying to do, where he wants to score as quickly as possible after he's set up. So it costs him a fair bit of cash here, but it's a fairly good play and has lots of subroutines and is expensive to break. But the downside of Hive is that strength, and especially against Anarch, where I play Parasites, or it's probably assumed that an Anarch would play Parasites, it's pretty susceptible to that. So I just Dirty Laundry Archive to get some more money, and yeah, I throw a Parasite down on that Hive, even without anything to accelerate the ice destruction. More than worth the time, since it only takes 3 turns to kill. So click 1, he's going to gain credit, or excuse me, he's going to install over that Hive, which is pretty good. It should tell me that he has something that he's trying to protect in his hand, although it is just good protection, since that Hive it's just a matter of time. It also kind of signals that he's gonna let the Hive stay as long as possible. So click 1 and 2 I drew, or no, excuse me, click 1 I Dirty Laundry, click 2 I drew, click 3 I played Katie Jones, and click 4 I used her. So he plays down another Jackson after trashing that first one, and I just separated out a little bit to make sure I'm not confused. And I don't know if he's playing upgrade, so if you put an upgrade under that Jackson, it could easily look like it was from, or at least under HQ. So plays Jackson and starts drawing up to refill his hand and see what he can see. And I'm just waiting for him to discard down here. But so far, it looks like a pretty standard CI build. Just gain money and get a bunch of cards in hand, and try and combo out either with Biotics, which I already saw, and or that mandatory upgrades. And the other thing about mandatory upgrades, it's a big signal, because I can tell that he's probably running Mushin Notion just from that card alone, especially in a CI type build. And he's probably looking to score out some 3-2s out of hand once he's able to land one of those. So my first click is to run Archives. And he uses Jackson and shuffles 3 face-down cards. So already he started drawing into agendas and decided to shuffle them back in. So definitely good to know that R&D is not necessarily a bad target right now. Even though I don't think I really take advantage of it, but I put some more money on Katie, and the reason I don't take advantage of that Eli and being able to click through it is because this deck really needs to draw. It needs to draw a lot because there isn't any other tricks. I don't play Diesel, don't play Quality Time. The only way I'm getting more cards is to spend a click to draw them, and it's not efficient. In my last click, I just clicked for a credit, and that's okay with this deck. It does play Express Delivery, which is really good in Anarch, in my opinion, well worth the 1 influence, just because of how it interacts and with the board state and requires a pretty good knowledge and knowing what to do. So he plays a green level, click 1, gaining money and gaining cards, which is exactly what Cerebral Imaging wants to do. And then he gains some more money and just clicks to gain credits. So beginning of my turn, Parasite blows up the Hive there, and I'm probably going to try and make him spend money. So yeah, run HQ, click 1, and it's just a quandary. Wah wah. So he spends some money, but doesn't really hamper him, unfortunately, and it does keep me out for the time being. But that's fine. Worse things have happened. Click 2, I'll put more money on Katie. And I can't see what else. I think that might be a medium that I see in my hand, but the Grimoire is definitely a better play just to start planning out. And click 4, I'll draw. It looks like is probably a likely play. Yep. So I just draw. Just trying to plan. I have all that money on Katie, so it's a good safety net. And in click 1, he draws. So really kind of hampered by and yeah, click 2 and 3 just gains credits. So he's really hampered by his lack of draw and lack of really good economy right now. I'm not sure if Hive is the best choice for his deck because it was really expensive for him to res and kind of seemed to slow him down pretty strong. I do this a little out of order though. I'm supposed to click Katie and then get the Sucker token, which comes into play with a virus counter. I just didn't do it initially at first, but not really a problem. Just take Katie, play Data Sucker, and I run Archives to see what the milled card was, but mostly just to start building up that Sucker token bank. And with that Eli out, a Parasite would... 4 turns is a little long to wait for a Parasite to blow up an Eli, just because it's cheap. That strength to res cost is just awesome. Eli's a great piece of ice. Worth, easily worth playing in HB and worth splashing outside of the faction too. So click 1, he draws, and 2 and 3, he just gains some more money. So he's up to 15 here, but again, you just see him clicking to draw, clicking to gain credits, not really taking advantage or not seeing of those blue levels and green levels and things like that give you money and clicks at the same time. Plus he's been through 2 Jacksons already, so it kind of hurts. Click 1, I'll Parasite the Quandary and forces him to mill, and that opens up HQ to see what there is, and I can trash stuff with the Imp counter I still have too. So first thing is NAPD, and I kind of second guess myself and wonder if it's worth me using my Imp counter to trash it instead, but I decided it's not worth the risk of possibly another Jackson and getting it shuffled back, and I just pay the money to steal it and access another card, which is another mandatory upgrades. Yeah, so I just grab that, go up to 6 points, and that puts me in a really, really strong position. And instead of potentially running on the last click, and maybe I could have won here, but I had enough of a lead where I don't think it's worth my time. I don't think it's worth the risk, basically, of potentially of death, of losing, to try and win the game there with the advantage that I have right now. So he ices up HQ, which was necessary. He can't let me keep getting in there with that imp counter and trashing his stuff, or even, obviously, an agenda wins me the game at this point, so definitely can't let me get in there anymore. And I'm always perfectly happy to just get HQ accesses against Cerebral Imaging, because it's better than accessing R&D. Every time I run, I'm probably going to get a new card, and the density of agendas in his hand is probably going to be a little better than the density of agendas in his deck. Especially since he's been through those Jacksons already, I don't think he has any other main way to cycle. And it's really a good thing, because seeing a new card every single time is way better than just, especially in this situation, of clicking through Eli to see one card and then just wasting all of those clicks to get through a piece of ice, which isn't advantageous to me. But the downside of him resing that ice wall is I can Parasite it again. And with that Grimoire, it dies instantly to a Parasite, which is a little bit of a concern, and I get the feeling that he has bigger ice in his hand, but he doesn't want to play it because he doesn't want to lose a lot of cards in his hand. But he does install over the ice wall, which is certainly worthwhile. And kind of puts it out of reach for me right now. I'm not drawing any breakers, and I'm not. I don't really have any way to get in, and that's probably another end the run piece of ice, since that's all I've seen. But yeah, just kind of write it off for now. And okay, so yeah, click 1 Express Delivery, and that's what I was talking about before. That the card is so good. I can just look at 4 cards, and yeah, you can see pretty instantly I know what I want. And it was the last card out of those 4. So instead of clicking to draw 4 cards that I might or might not have wanted, I just get to spend a buck and a click to look through 4 cards and pick the best one. I don't see a downside in that whatsoever. And if I had Quality Time in my hand here, same influence, but 3 times as much. Quality Time costs 3, Express Delivery costs 1. I would have had to click for a credit, then click for Quality Time, when I would have had no money, or which I would have had no money afterwards, and then I would have had a bunch of cards in my hand. Not really what I want to see. So Express Delivery is definitely worth playing in Anarch, in my opinion, and definitely worth the slot in this deck. Just wondering how many cards he has in his hand, but as I said, I prefer to hit his hand than R&D. I see value in seeing more cards more often than just seeing one card. So click 2, I click Katie. Click 3, I draw another card. And click 4, I'm just going to gain a little bit more money. And I'm really just looking for answers here. At least I think I am. I can't really recall. I need something here, but I'm pretty sure I have a Parasite. I'm pretty sure I got another Parasite in my hands. And I know I have a medium. I saw that earlier in the game. We really can't see either of our hands, which not the best, but something I'll keep in mind for future videos. And he just clicks for credits. He's been doing that a lot, and yeah, so click 1, I click Katie, click 2, I Parasite, 3, medium, so forcing him to mill a couple cards there, getting tokens on the Parasite and the medium because of Grimoire, and click 4, throw caution to the wind at this point, and get some accesses and get to see 3 cards, which is really, or excuse me, 2 cards. So there's that blue level, which I leave because if he wants to spend 2 clicks to play blue level at this point, he probably isn't going to ice up R&D much. So I let him keep it. But that Biotic Labor, as I said, I trashed one before, and I'll trash it again, and I'm always happy to use an imp counter to do that. It's just a really good card, especially when you have an opponent like Cerebral Imaging who can just hang on to that until they get an agenda. So clicks 1 and 2, Mushin Notion. I kind of thought that from those mandatory upgrades. Again, I mentioned that earlier. And click 3, he actually plays Shipment for Mirror Morph, which is a really cool card to include. And my heart kind of dropped at this point, but after he installed 3 ice with it, uh, really that was probably not a good move with a medium and a completely free R&D. So instantly going to start trying to take advantage of that, getting data sucker counters in medium, and I'm not sure if he drew. It's interesting to see that ship or the blue level clearance, and so yeah, just 2 operations. That was a blue level shipment for Mirror Morph and a Victor 2. And click 2, I'm going to check out archives just to double check before. Okay, so yeah, there's the accelerated beta test, and that is game 1. Unfortunately, I don't have game 2 because I experienced some technical difficulties during this match, but more on that later. Thank you for watching, and check back for more videos soon.